Grizzly out on the track now, starting off the Elite Men's Pursuit qualifying. First rider to kick off proceedings here at the 2023 Elite Para Championships. Seven laps on the lap board. Split at 2:29 there, 6 laps to go. Continuous work and looking very comfortable. First qualifier. 2.45 to split. 5 laps to go. Really starting to burn now. This is the first event of the championships. Elite Men's Pursuit qualifying. Four laps on the lap board. Quite hot and sticky in here. Good conditions for a fast track. Welcome everybody who's come from all around the country to the Anna Meares Velodrome here in Brisbane. Looking forward to a big championships. This is Graham Frisley from Victoria, who opens up proceedings for the event, and he's going to come round to the bell lap. There's the bell. The last split is 4:03.916, and Graham putting every little ounce of effort into this last lap. And Graham will stop the clock at 4:19.848.
There is no such thing. This is the brake here. Basically just a case of when the foot hand in, zoom in, follow them around. You're on the front stroke, the kids are on the back stroke. You zoom in and do that. What's the brake for?
When you're not using it. On the back straight we have Will Eads from Tasmania, on the front straight Ty Bonsa from Western Australia. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Both riders out of the gate.
So Willie's up on Kai Bonta just by a small margin at its early stages of the race, 13 laps on the lap board. Everyone will approach this a little bit differently. This is the second heat in the elite men's qualifying. The first heat will ease third fastest time so far. So at this early stage, like Kai Bonta has the tendency. And now on the back straight, Willie's has got a 1.27. Not getting splits for every lap. At present, Willie's is up with a 1.44 split, and he's up by almost 2 seconds on Kai Bonta with 9 laps on the lap board. So Willie's now increasing his margin and getting close to being in the same straight. We're looking very comfortable on the bike and maintaining a good cadence. 7 laps on the lap board. Correct. 4 laps on the lap board, and Willie's now in the same straight as Kai as they have 4 laps on the lap board, but still Graham's first time was faster. And Will looking for a big finish here to try and get into the top spot. Only the second qualifying lap. Two laps on the lap board. Willie looks up and sees Kai in front of him and tries to lift. .359 split for Kai on that lap. Now Willie gets the bell, he's into his last lap. Still in second fastest time. Both riders now on their last lap. Willie's coming around the back straight. Will stops the clock in the second fastest time at 4:26.159. Kai now stops the clock with 4:31.810, third fastest time so far.
So sorry if anyone watching this live.
We're putting the live stream together for you today from a bunch of people who haven't done it before. It's not the easiest to find volunteers during work hours. When we do the junior live stream, we have plenty of parents on hand, but Right, up next, Leo Zimmerman from Western Australia and Dalton Stretton from Tasmania. Leo Zimmerman on the front stroke. And Dalton Stretton on the back stroke. If you're watching on the live stream, it's Leo Zimmerman on the left of screen and Dalton Stretton on the right of screen. 10 seconds on the clock. Both riders out of the gate, winding up what looks to be quite big gears there. Both gentlemen down into the saddle in turn 3 and into their work, into the time trial position. Dalton Stretton moves into second place with a 1:10 split. There's 11 laps on the lap board. Very, very close actually, not getting a split for Leo Zimmerman there, but Dalton Stretton very, very close, these two gentlemen. Now Dalton Stretton on the back straight. And there's 200ths of a second splitting them at the moment. And Dalton Stretton has the ascendancy at this stage in the qualifying with 9 laps on the lap board. Dalton extending now on 400ths of a second. But there's still a long way to go in this race, but very, very close. Six laps on the lap board. Leo Zimmerman now moves in front of Dalton Stretton by the smallest of margin, finishing strong. 5 laps on the lap board. Two riders here looking for a big finish. Dalton Stretton now 2 seconds behind Leo Zimmerman, and the South Australian really pushing down there on the back straight. Grimace on the face of Dalton Stretton from Tasmania. It's starting to hurt with 3 laps on the lap board. It's probably hurting long before now, but the real grimace on the face. Leo Zimmerman now moves into second fastest time. Dalton Stretton third fastest time with 2 laps remaining on the lap board. They'll be coming around for the bell lap, and it's the South Australian that's ahead at the moment. Second fastest time so far with 4:09. The Victorian still holds the top spot for now. Leo Zimmerman, he finishes his ride off with a 4:25.877, second fastest time. Dalton Stretton now moves down to fourth fastest with a 4:29.03. Right up next, John Carter from Western Australia and Josh Duffy from Tasmania, the West Australian on the front straight, 10 seconds on the clock. Both riders out of the gate. John Carter getting a good start on the front straight. He's got a big gear there to wind up. Josh Duffy now onto the front straight. Lads are out of the saddle and winding up. Victoria, the best time so far. That was Graham Frisley from the first qualifier, and he's within the fastest time so far. John Carter, 37.38, fastest time so far. He's gone out quick. Can he hold that pace? It's a long way to go in this race, and but he's gone out with a cracking time, and the first one to come under the time of Graham Frisley, who was the first qualifier. 12 laps still to go. Josh Duffy from Tasmania in the green. He's on the back straight. John Carter now 1:07, fastest time. Josh Duffy moves in a second fastest time with a 10.89 split. (1:23). John Carter still fastest time so far. Josh Duffy second fastest. So we're seeing the two fastest qualifiers so far at this stage with 10 laps to go in this event number 2, Elite Men's Pursuit qualifying. And after that split, John Carter and Josh Duffy both holding first and second place qualifying times so far. John Carter looking good down that back straight. He ducks his head down looking at that black line. Josh Duffy, he's doing well as well. He's second fastest qualifier so far. They're both in a good rhythm. John Carter off the pace a little now. Josh Duffy starting to lift. He's got the fastest qualifying time at this point in the race. 6 laps on the lap board. Of course, the objective here is to qualify. ground for the next split now. Josh Duffy, 2:58. John Carter, 3. So that fast start for John Carter, he's losing a bit of pace in this last 4 laps. Moves down into 3rd position. Josh Duffy still fastest qualifying time with 3 laps to go. John Carter suffering on that back straight. Duffy at 3:28, fastest time so far. John's still holding on to 3rd fastest qualifying time so far. 2 laps to go. Fastest time from Josh. Looks like he's going to make the catch coming out of turn 4, and he's run straight into the back of John Carter. Both riders still up. A shake of the head. Josh has run straight into him. He gets the bell. John holding on to 4th fastest time, even with a... So, 4:16 from Josh Duffy. And a 4:28 and 5th fastest time from John Carter. Rowan Hayden Smith from New South Wales on the front straight, and Liam Walsh from Queensland on the back straight. 10 seconds. Riders out of the gate and into their work. 16 laps on the lap board. Both riders still out of the saddle. Liam Walsh out fast with a 52.2 and the fastest time so far. Liam Walsh still holding on to fastest time, the 1:07. Rowan, 6th fastest time with the 1:11, 11 laps on the lap board. Liam Walsh going out very quickly, and can he hold this pace? Very good rider. Rowan Hayden Smith from New South Wales winding up. It is really too early to tell. 8 laps on the lap board, and Liam Walsh is still holding on to the fastest qualifying time for this part of the race. Is a 1:54. .2:10 now for Liam Walsh. 2:15 for Rowan. He's looking to have a big back end to this race. He's picked up 1 place and he's sitting in 5th qualifier at the moment. Still 6 laps to go. Liam now has Rowan in his sights and he'll be looking to make the pass and try to hold on to this blistering pace that he's gone out with. .2:41 for Liam Walsh, still fastest qualifying time at this stage. Rowan Hayden-Smith, 2:48, still holding on to 5th qualifying. Liam Walsh now makes the pass. Rowan now moving up into 4th fastest with 3:20. Liam Walsh is still holding on to the top spot with 3:28. Two laps on the lap board. Liam now moves into 2nd fastest time, 3:43. So he's just fallen just under Graham Frizzell's first time, which was a cracker. Liam Walsh gets the bell. Rowan Hayden-Smith gets the bell. He's moved up into 4th place. Big finish from Liam. And he rolls up. And he holds on to 1st place, 4:15.999 for Liam Walsh. A fantastic time for him. And a solid time from Rowan Hayden-Smith. 4th fastest qualifying time with a 4:24.654. .25 seconds on the clock. Angus Miller from South Australia in the back straight. Devraj Grawal from New South Wales on the front straight. Angus and Devraj into their work. Don't have a start list here. I'm not exactly sure how many qualifiers we have here this morning, but fastest qualifier so far is Liam Walsh from Queensland. 4 laps in, and we're looking at 6th and 8th place out there at this stage. Angus Miller up on Devraj at this stage. It's actually very, very close. It's only just over half a second between the two riders. South Australian rider on the back straight in the red and blue, the New South Wales colours of light blue and blue, is Devraj Gribble from New South Wales. 9 laps on the lap board, next split coming up. 1:59.195 and 0.511 between the two riders. Angus Miller up at this stage, but by the smallest of margins. And Angus moved to 5th qualifying time so far, and Devraj into 6th. Seven laps on the lap board. The margin between the riders just 0.7 of a second. So very equally matched, Miller and Grewal. Down to 0.3 of a second now. The New South Welshman's lifting in the latter parts of this race, this qualifying race. There's 5 laps on the lap board. It's still Angus Miller ahead. He's gone out now to back to half a second. The riders, Angus still 5th and Devraj 6th in the qualifying with 4 laps to go on the lap board. Now they've moved up for 4th and 5th, and the difference between the two riders is only 0.3 of a second. So they're finishing well, these two guys. The Wall from New South Wales in blue, and Angus Miller from South Australia. Just dropping now down to 5th and 7th. Angus Miller holding, but starting to suffer now, the New South Welshman. Two laps for both riders. Nothing in it between the two of them. They'll both come round to the bell. They're both legs absolutely burning at this stage, dropping now down to 7th and 8th. But the New South Wales rider, Grewal, has moved up and looks like he might finish ahead of the South Australian, who's led the whole qualifying heat. It's not much in it, but it is Devraj Grewal, who finishes with a 4:26, 7th fastest qualifying time so far. Angus Miller, 8th place with a 4:27.206.
All right, good riding there from those two, and we have now Liam Walsh's fastest qualifier so far, but another Queenslander who rides for Australia on the front straight. James Moriarty, and it's good to see him back out here. Back home, spends his time down in Adelaide with the Australian team. And Blake Agnoletto from Victoria on the back straight.
All
right, James and Blake. James Moriarty in the maroon. And Blake Agnoletto from Victoria in the blue. First lap down, and James 22.070. He will lift and work his way into this. He's got Jordan Kirby handling him today. It's great to have Jordan back in the Australian cycling scene. He's making a big impact here in Queensland. Very, very fortunate to have him. 13 laps on the lap board. James Moriarty, a 53 split. Blake Agnoletto, 55.976. Second fastest split now for James Moriarty. Blake Agnoletto moving up from 12th to 10th place. There's still 10 laps on the lap board, and James Moriarty will increase his pace now into the fastest qualifying time at 1:38 with 9 laps now on the lap board. And James Moriarty is looking ominous as he comes around and onto the front straight. He's holding a good pace, 1:53.621, fastest qualifying time so far. Blake Agnoletto had a really slow start, but he's moved up now to 6th place with a 1.58. James Moriarty will want to make the catch. He's onto the front straight, same straight as Blake. Fastest time so far with a 2:08.762. Crossing over for the 7th lap. 6 laps on the lap board for James Moriarty. Fastest time with 2:23. And Blake Agnoletto has having a really good second half. It was a little slow at the start, but it's all about the finishing time. And everyone has their own pace. James Moriarty holding on to the top spot. Looks up and seeks Blake Agnoletto in front of him, who's still in 6th place. Holding the wheel as they come down the start-finish straight. Now James Moriarty on the shoulder and going over down the back straight. Adjustment on the bike, gets a little bit more power to go around. He doesn't want to stay any longer than he has to on the shoulder of Blake Agnoletto. He gets over, adjusts himself again, 3:09, still the fastest time. Three laps on the lap board. James Moriarty looking for the fastest qualifying time. Well placed at the moment. No split on that lap. Blake Agnoletto now holding the wheel. Can James Moriarty hold the pace? 2 laps on the lap board. Still holding the top spot. James Moriarty, 3.39. Blake Agnoletto looks over his shoulder. He's got himself up into 4th place. James Moriarty gets the bell, still holding the fastest time. Grimace on the face, 3:55. Agnoletto holding on to 4th. He gets the bell. James Moriarty coming up on the finishing line. What's the split? It's a fast time. 4:10.616. Absolute cracker of a time for James Moriarty. And a 4:18.886. A good time from Blake Agnoletto. 4th fastest at the moment. But what about James Moriarty? There's no wonder he's in the Australian team. Connolly from Western Australia on the front straight. And Oliver Bledden from South Australia in the red on the back straight. Both riders out of the gate, and be interesting to see the times after that blistering time we've just seen from James Moriarty. He sits at the top of the leaderboard at the moment. We still have a few riders to come, so I'm expecting good time out of these two guys, but we'll wait and see how that pans out. A bit of a slower start, but Oliver Bledden faster than Connolly at the moment, 6th and 11th respectively, but doesn't mean much at this early stage. Everyone has a very different approach. .13 laps on the lap board, and Connolly in 7th fastest time. I didn't catch Oliver. Wait for the next lap. Connor in the red on the back straight. Connolly 6th, Oliver 4th so far, the 108. Connolly now moving up to 4th. 5th place. Oliver Bledden faster at the moment and moves up into 4th position. Still 10 laps on the lap board. Still a long way to go. Looks like Connor picking up the pace. Now, there's not a lot in it, but Connor moves into 2nd fastest time. Oliver Bledden up into 3rd. So they're getting into their work here, these two. Connor Lay from Western Australia and Oliver Bledden from South Australia. At the moment, James Moriarty, fastest time. A cracking time of 4:10. Connor Lee now moves into 2nd fastest time. A big second half from both these riders as Connor moves into a 2:24 and a 2:25 from Oliver Bledden, 2nd and 3rd respectively at this stage in the race. This is event number 2, the Elite Men's Pursuit qualifying. Connolly 2:39. He's looking very comfortable out there, very accomplished rider. In good conditions here, it's really warm. It's very warm on the track. 2:54, place 2:55.8. Connor over Oliver. Three laps on the lap board. Connolly coming around for another split. Has been 2nd fastest time so far. Moves into the top spot with a 3:25. Oliver Bledden now into 2nd spot with a 3:26.789. So both riders have really lifted with only a couple of laps left in this qualifying men's pursuit qualifying heat. Connolly drops down under James Moriarty's time. He's going to get the bell. Just waiting for the second last split. Connor gets 3:56, place 3:57.5. There's a 1.2 seconds in it. Connor Lee's in 2nd place. He wants to finish. Big finish from Connor Lee. It is only qualifying. Connor stops the clock at 4:11. 2nd place, Oliver Bledden. 3rd, 4:12.882. James Moriarty is holding on to the top spot. All right, we move into event number 3, which is the ladies qualifying, elite women individual pursuit qualifying. Hayley Fuller from New South Wales in the front straight. Isla Carr from Western Australia on the back straight in the yellow. All right, 12 laps on the lap board, and the ladies are out of the gate and into their work. James Moriarty qualifying first in the previous event. And now we're into the elite women's pursuit. All right, so 9 laps on the lap board. First of the ladies qualifying, and Isla Carr 58.409 up on Hayley Fuller with a 59.280. Hayley Fuller, the 117. Isla Carr. How do you say it? Right, Isla Carr. Sorry, Isla. 132, and is doing very well at the moment. The Western Australian, not far behind Hayley Fuller from New South Wales. This is the first of the elite women's individual pursuit qualifying. 3,000 metres. Hayley Fuller, a 154 with 5 laps to go. Isla, 207.764. I apologise for pronouncing your name wrong, Isla. You've got more impressive things happening at the moment. Hayley Fuller from New South Wales. Second place so far. 4 laps on the board, and we've moved into the third event of the elite Junior 19 Paratrack National Championships for 2023. We've got a big event, championships coming up over the next 5 days. Carr now in the same straight, and she's looking to make the catch if she can. Looks like she will. Two laps on the lap board for Isla Carr. Head down, really trying to make that catch. Legs are absolutely burning out there. And Hayley gets the bell. Isla won't make the catch, but she'll stop the clock at 3:35.346. Hayley Fuller coming around now to stop the clock at 3:43.598. I'd like to welcome everyone from interstate to the Anna Meares Velodrome and Brisbane for the championships and the start of the Brisbane Cycling Festival. There's an amazing amount of cycling happening in Brisbane for the next 4 weeks. Oceania's coming up very soon. Masters and Junior Track Championships. The Tour de Brisbane, Oceania Road Race. There's a dirt crit on at the Ekka. It was very exciting. And then after that, there's a CX race as well. We have a night crit, the King Street crit. So it's all happening here in the Sunshine State. And we'd like to welcome everybody to get out and enjoy some of the cycling at the Brisbane Cycling Festival while you're here. Ella Sibley from South Australia. Ella out of the gate and working that bike to get up to pace on a big gear. Turn 3 is where the riders normally settle down into the saddle. Ella doing exactly that and getting into her time trial position, adjusting herself on the seat, getting comfortable. All right, fastest time so far for Ella with a 40-second split, 9 laps on the lap board. Ella out there on her own at the moment. .58 split. So went out with the fastest lap, settled down now into the second fastest time. Isla Carr holding the fastest time at this point, but very, very early days here with 8 laps to go in this women's individual pursuit qualifier. And Ella now back into the top spot. .134 for Ella Sibley. And Isla Carr and Ella Sibley swapping places each alternate lap for the fastest time. Very, very close between these two. 6 laps on the lap board. Ella Sibley coming down the front straight now with a 1:52.815. 5 laps on the lap board. .2:11.156 now the split for Ella Sibley. She has 4 laps on the lap board. She's heading down the back straight, hugging that black line, really tight on the corners and staying low. Sometimes the riders will fan out to the red line on the straights. And Ella staying on the black line all the way around, the shortest way around the track. .2:48.023, 2 laps on the lap board. Ella trying to hold on with the slight adjustment there on the saddle, getting very uncomfortable. Lactic acid stinging in the legs at this stage. It's a very difficult event, the individual pursuit. Really an event for people that like to punish themselves. Ella now struggling with this back end, moves down into 3:27 and 3rd fastest time. That fast start starting to hurt, coming out of turn 4 for the last time, pining for that finishing line, and Ella will stop the clock with a third fastest time of 3:47, 5:51. Ella Sibley from South Australia.
Going.
All right, next up we have Lucinda Stewart from Victoria in the blue. Nicola McDonald from South Australia in the red and blue. Nicola McDonald with the fastest time of 4:41. Nicola McDonald now still holding on to that first place. Lucinda Stewart moving down into third place, but early days, 8 laps on the lap board. Nicola Stewart, second fastest time. Nicola McDonald, is holding on to the second fastest time. Lucinda Stewart went out for the fast, very cracker of a first lap. .150 from Nicola McDonald, 153 from Lucinda Stewart. Nicola McDonald now up into the second fastest time. Lucinda Stewart sitting there in fourth fastest. Three laps on the lap board. Nicola McDonald, second fastest time, 2:43.161. And Lucinda Stewart, 2.50.056. Nicola McDonald moving up on Lucinda now, looking to make the catch if she can. Nicola gets the bell. Second fastest time so far. This is qualifying, so as long as you get yourself into a good position, you don't have to do your fastest time necessarily, but often do your faster time in the qualifying. Lucinda Stewart gets the bell. Nicola McDonald stops the clock. Second fastest time, 3:37.517. Lucinda Stewart now stopping the clock at 3:47.788 and fifth fastest time.
I didn't know.
All right, heat number 4 coming up now. Ali Anderson and Claudia Marks from the ACT. Ali Anderson from South Australia. Claudia Marks from the ACT on the back straight in the yellow, and Ali Anderson from South Australia front straight in the red. So heat number 4 in the elite women's individual pursuit qualifying underway. 12 laps, 3,000 metres. First and second to the gold final, third and fourth to the bronze final. Claudia Marks looks like she's gotten out to quite a fast start there. 22.59. Ali Anderson, 23.625. Claudia with a really quick start, and the handler on the back straight there just indicating that's good. Just hold that. Don't burn all the bickies too early. First event for all of these riders, and plenty of nerves, but Claudia Marks right on track at the moment with the fastest time, fastest split after 3 laps. Claudia still looking good. Fastest time so far, 1:13.357. Ali Anderson, a 1:17.605, and fifth fastest time so far. This is event number 3 in the program, day number 1 in the 2003 AusCycling Elite Under-19 and Paratrack National Championships. And we're very excited to have all of the interstate riders and families, coaches, volunteers, commissaires converging on this fantastic event, part of the Brisbane Cycling Festival. Ali Anderson sitting in 5th place at the moment. Claudia Marks is absolutely flying out there. Can she hold that early pace? Coach is happy. Still holding on to the top spot so far with a 2:05. There's 4 laps on the lap board. Well, the Canberra rider, 2:23.225, holding on to top spot, and appears to have been on program every lap. $2:41 now for Claudia. Ali Anderson now coming around turn number 4, down the main straight. She's moved up into 4th fastest time with a 2:46.960. She's holding on to a bronze final at the moment. Can she hold on to that position or improve? There still is one more heat to come. Sophie Edwards and Sophie Maher. Ali Anderson holding on to that 4th fastest time so far. Claudia Marks gets the bell, 3:16.452. She's had the thumbs up from the coach every lap. Ali Anderson gets the bell now as well. She's in 4th fastest place. Claudia Marks, 3:33.659. And Ali Anderson, 4th place, 3:40.436. So Claudia Marks has got herself a final berth. Gold final or bronze final will be determined by Sophie Edwards and Sophie Maher in this last qualifying heat of the Elite Women Individual Pursuit qualifying. And Ali Anderson sitting in 4th place, and we'll be hoping that the two Sophies don't go any faster than 3:43.46. Do this. Ten seconds. Edwards and Maher now out on the track, the final heat. They've got to do a 3:36 to get into the final. And it's Sophie Maher in the front straight in the blue, Sophie Edwards from South Australia in the red. Second fastest time for Sophie Maher. Didn't get a time for Edwards. But there's nothing in it. 3 laps in. Can't, we're not getting splits for both riders, but very difficult to tell who's up at the moment. Sophie Maher saying that Sophie Maher's in the 2nd fastest time. So 2nd and 3rd now, Sophie Edwards 1:31. Sophie Maher also 1:31. Very little in it. These riders very closely matched, and there's 6 laps remaining. Still sitting in 2nd and 3rd. Claudia Marks from the ACT at this stage, still holding on to her gold final position. Both riders here faster than Ali Anderson, unfortunately for Ali. But there is still 5 laps to go, 4 laps to go in the race. A bit of an adjustment there from Sophie Edwards as she tries to find some more power in the latter stage of this individual pursuit. Edwards still sitting in second. Sophie Marr just off the pace a little bit now, dropping down into 5th place and giving a bit of hope to Ali Anderson for a bronze medal ride-off. 3 laps to go. Who will fill the spots? Sophie Edwards now moving into first position. Sophie Marr just outside the bronze final at this stage. Only 2 laps on the lap board. Both riders putting absolutely everything into the final stage of this qualifying race. Sophie Edwards is on the top spot. She looks like she might hold on for a gold medal berth. Sophie Marr is still sitting in 5th and will need a big last lap. So plenty of encouragement for both riders. Edwards gets the bell. She's still sitting in the first position at a 3:15. Marr gets the bell. She's just outside a bronze medal ride with a 3:20. Edwards coming around turn 3, out of turn 4, into the home straight. Sophie Edwards finishes with the second fastest time. Sophie Marr just outside the bronze ride-off with a 5th place. So Sophie Edwards through to the gold final, and Ali Anderson gets to ride for bronze. It could be the connection. All right, that was event number 3, which brings us to event number 6, which is the elite men's sprint qualifying. "19 qualifiers. And we'll be starting with Blake Long from Western Australia. Duncan Allen, Dylan Stanton, Maxwell Liebenecht, Finn Carpenter, Carlos Carismo, Nathan Hart, Lee Hoffman, Ned Pollard, Jade Madden, Daniel Barber, Luke Blackwood, John Travas, Ryan Elliott, James Brister, Sam Gallagher, Byron Davies, Thomas Cornish and Matthew Richardson. So for those of you that don't know, the sprint qualifier is 3 laps. The last 200 metres of the 3 laps is timed. And then we go into a round robin, basically, to determine our gold, silver and bronze ride-offs in the match sprint round. Do a qualifier, which gives them a position for the match sprints. And we work through the match sprints, fastest to slowest, until eventually we have 4 riders left, the top 4, who battle it out for the medals. Western Australian. Blake Long now onto the track, and he will start his wind-up for the first of the sprint qualifiers. Blake Long up on the fence. Circulating around 2 laps. Completed his first lap, starting to build the pace up. Now out of the saddle. And starts the clock with plenty of pace. And no time up there. Looked good. We'll have to wait to see what Blake's time was. But up now is Blake Allen from Queensland. Duncan Allen from Bundaberg in Queensland on the boards for what I think to be his first elite championships. Now a local to Brisbane and very familiar with this Anna Meares Velodrome. And he gets the bell into his work. Starts the clock down the back straight. Fanning a little bit wide there. Turn 3 and turn 4, and stopping the clock with a 10.702. An average of 67.28 k's an hour. We didn't get a time for Blake Long, but if Duncan Allen's time is second fastest, then we know that Blake Long's time was quicker than 10.7. Up onto the track now is Dylan Stanton from South Australia. Dylan out of the saddle into his work as he comes down into turn number 1. Slingshots out of turn 2, down the back straight, looking like a good pace. Into turn 3, good line through there, onto the home straight and stops the clock. 10.392 and the fastest time so far. .2 k's per hour. Now onto the track, Maxwell Liebenecht from South Australia. Max winding up now onto the back straight, starting to pick up the pace as he comes into turn 3, high on the fence. Out of the saddle really early, trying to get that big gear wound up. Lots of encouragement from his South Australian teammates as he comes around turn 1 and out of turn 2. Looking like it's holding a heap of pace as he goes down into turn 3 and out of turn 4. Fastest split, just over 5 seconds, and stops the clock at 10.236. Fastest time, 70.34. First of the riders to average over 70 kilometres an hour. Western Australia's Finn Carpenter out on the boards now. Completing the first lap. Into his work now, Finn Carpenter. Looks like he's holding a heap of pace as he comes into turn 3, turn 4, onto the gas, onto the home straight. Stops the clock, 10.153. Fastest time so far, 70.91 kilometres per hour. Good time there from Finn Carpenter. Carlos Carismo now from South Australia is out on the boards. Some of these sprinters have a slightly different approach, but generally speaking, very slow on the first lap, conserving as much energy as you can. Starting to wind up on the second lap, particularly along that back straight, using the height. Coming down the hill here, and carrying that pace to get you up back onto the fence. And then out of the saddle, nice and early to get on top of that gear. You want to hit the start line at maximum pace and hold it for as long as you can. Carlos Carismo, he's looking for a 10.153 or better. Third fastest at the split and stops the clock with a 10.269. Third fastest time. Heat number 7, Nathan Hart from the ACT.
Which one, too?
All right, Nathan Hart from the ACT is looking for a good time here, up high, out of the saddle, around the same place. Dropping down now. Good line as he heads down the back straight. Fastest split, sub 5. This is going to be a good time. First sub 10, 9.914. A very good ride there from Nathan Hart. Just a very controlled ride. Bike so stable, and a rider that really has control of their bike. Doesn't actually look like they're going that fast. But it was an excellent first split and a good time. Sub 10, 9.914. It's a fast track, this one. And we will see some cracking times here today. Lee Hoffman from South Australia circulating the boards now. Really winding the bike up out of the saddle. It's gets the bell. Lee Hoffman starts the clock. Well, he looks like he's flying and very aerodynamic as he comes into turn 3. Second fastest time, sub 5, 4.904. Stops the clock, 9.912. Lee Hoffman into first qualifying position. So Lee Hoffman, 9.912. Just 0.02 of a second faster than Nathan Hart. And there's 19 riders, and Lee is rider number 8. So we now move to heat number 9, which is Ned Pollard from Victoria. Ned out of the saddle, looking to get pace as he heads down the back straight, dives down the dipper, up to the fence. Out of the saddle really early, trying to get as much pace into this bike as he heads down into turn number 1. Starts the clock, down the back straight, right on that black line. Hugging that line as he comes around, 5.08 split, and it's a 10.127. Third fastest time for Ned Pollard. Well, you can win a match sprint. You can win the sprints with a very slow qualifying time and just making life hard on yourself. The qualifying time just gives you a seeding into the match sprints. The faster you qualify, the easier the route for you to get into the gold or bronze medal final. We have seen riders that have had the slowest qualifying time and end up winning. It's not particularly common, but Jade Madden from Victoria out on the boards now and winding up down that back straight. We'll be looking for a good time here. Getting plenty of encouragement as he comes down, hugging that fence and into turn number 1, starts the clock and into the back straight, rolls wide out past the sprinter's lane, hugging the corner and stops the clock with a 10.099 and third fastest time for Jade Madden. Right, Daniel Barber now from New South Wales out on the track. What can Daniel do today here at Anna Meares Velodrome, the 2023 Elite Under-19 and Para-Track National Championships? This the event number 6 Elite Men's Sprint Qualifying. And Daniel Barber from New South Wales will be looking for an absolute cracker here. He winds up nice and early. He's out of the saddle, trying to get as much pace as he can as he heads into turn number 3, number 4. Out of the saddle now. He kicks again. Daniel Barber up on the fence. Dives down now into turn number 1. Low down onto that set of bars. Third fastest, a sub 5, 4.915 split. And it's a 9.975. Sub 10 for Daniel Barber and third fastest time. Now the first New Zealander that we've had at the championships out on the boards. It is Luke Blackwood. Luke right up on the fence. Getting this first lap out of the way. Picture of concentration as he comes down the home straight and will start to lift the pace. Dives down now into the back straight, still in the saddle, but a good pace. Out of the saddle now. Diving down now to start the clock. What can Luke Blackwood do here today? Down into the back straight, looking for that split. 5.098 onto the home straight. Stops the clock, 10.401. Well, Luke Blackwood opening the account for the New Zealanders that are here for the championships. And it's great to have our cousins from across the ditch here joining us. And we look forward to see the performances of all the Queenslanders, all of the New Zealanders, sorry, involved in the championships. A big welcome to you all. Out onto the track now from New South Wales, John Travis. And he loves riding up here in Queensland at the Anna Meares Velodrome. Dad down getting the picks. What can he do? Out of the saddle, John Travis, putting absolutely everything he can into the bike as he ducks down into turn one. Starts the clock, looking good, very aerodynamic, really hugging that black line, a good line around turn 3 and turn 4. Stops the clock with a 10.212. Brings our current junior world champion onto the boards. Ryan Elliott from Queensland, sprint champion in Tel Aviv, Israel, with the Australian team. Is getting faster and faster every time he gets onto the boards. A good time here a few weeks ago in phenomenal conditions. Pretty good conditions today. Ryan Elliott will be looking for something special. This is his home track. He knows it very, very well. Up high on the fence, out of the saddle, building up, back down into the saddle, down into the dipper. And now out of the saddle, he's got explosive acceleration, and you can see him really picking up the pace. Settles down into the saddle, starts the clock. That looks fast, looks really fast. The cadence is high. Turn 3, turn 4, fastest time, 4.860. What can he do here? Ryan Elliott, 9.822. What a time from the youngster, the current world champion, junior world champion. Gets faster every time he gets out here on the track. Well, give him a round of applause as he comes past the start-finish line. Fastest time so far. James Brister from South Australia out on the boards now. Heat number 15. Five riders to go. What can the South Australian do here? Fastest time just set by the youngster, 9.822, has the fastest seating at the moment. Out of the saddle, James Brister. Into the back straight, plenty of pace. Looking for that first split. The first split's fastest, 4.812 onto the finishing straight. And stops the clock, 9.667. Fantastic time, James Brister. Well, it wasn't long ago that these times would have won you an Olympic medal. They've got lots of international riders over here in Australia training, considering that Australia is the place to train as a sprinter. That was a cracker of a time. 9.667, James Brister. Absolutely fantastic. Well, well, well. Sam Gallagher now from Victoria, out on the boards, right up on the fence. A big time now to get on the top spot, 9.667. It's a fast track, the Anna Meares Velodrome. Sam Gallagher out of the saddle, accelerating now. Starts the clock. Looks like he's got plenty of pace as he heads down the back straight. He's raced here a lot. 4.863. What can he finish it off with? 9.849. Great time there from Sam Gallagher. Spends a bit of time up here. He's almost a surrogate local. And that was a good time. Man, there's some fast times here today. The gentle giant of Byron Davies. There's 3 riders to go. What can he produce? It wasn't that long ago he broke 10, and he's continued to improve over the last year and a bit. Byron Davies on his home track. What can he do? Winding up, out of the saddle, building up the pace really early, still out of the saddle. Settles down now into turn 3. Back out of the saddle again, winding up this pace. Byron Davies, what can he do here on his home track? He's a monster of a man. He looks like he's got heaps of pace as he heads down the back straight. Turn 3, turn 4, second fastest time, 4.8. And he stops the clock, 9.772. Average of 73.68. It's still James Brister on the top spot. 9.822, 9.667, 9.849, 9.772. How's that for a run sheet? And we still have Thomas Cornish and Matthew Richardson yet to ride. Tom Cornish from New South Wales out on the boards. Tom Cornish starts to build the pace as he heads down the back straight, down the dipper, onto the back fence, out of the saddle. Tom Cornish gets the bell. There's some big times. The tongue comes out. The clock starts onto the back straight. It's the fastest, 4.778 split. What can he finish it off with? 9.654, what a time from Tom Cornish. Well, there's only like 13 hundredths between Tom Cornish and James Brister at 9.667. Fastest time now, 9.654. But now onto the boards. Richo Richardson, Matthew Richardson. Australia's number 1. One of the fastest sprinters in the world. And he has come here today to lay down the best qualifying time. Out of the saddle, in over the stem. What can Richo do today? Comes out of it. Turn number 4, out of the saddle. The pocket rocket, he starts the timer down the back straight. He's absolutely flying. It's the fastest, 4.705, the fastest split. What can he stop the clock? 9.504. Absolutely cracking time from the number 1 in Australia, the man to beat, Matthew Richardson. That concludes the men's sprint qualifying, and we straight into the women's qualifying with Tamanzin Clark from New South Wales. The fastest time there in event number 6, elite men's sprint qualifying. Matthew Richardson, 9.654. Tom Cornish, 9.654. And James Brister, 9.667. 14 riders in the elite women's sprint qualifying. Tamanzin Clark from New South Wales will open the account for the ladies and is coming into her sprint lap now Out of turn 4, really winding that bike up. She heads into turn number 1, over the start line for the 200 and into the back straight. Out of turn 3, turn number 4, setting the first time. And it's an 11.293 for Tammanzin Clark from New South Wales. Jacqueline Knock from Western Australia out on the track now. Event number 7, Elite Women's Sprint qualifying. Immediately after the men, where we saw Matthew Richardson qualify with a 9.5. Jacqueline Knock from Western Australia winding up. Western Australia is enjoying the Anna Meares Velodrome. Not a bad track. Out of the saddle, a little bit earlier now, getting that big gear wound up. Dropping down now and starting the clock and into the back straight. Jacqueline Knock, as she comes around for the split. Second fastest split, 5.2. And we'll stop the clock with a 11.599. Out onto the track now, the local girl, Danica Blinko. Danica trains with the QAS and has ridden these boards very regularly. Right up onto the fence, getting that first lap out of the way, using that to circulate and get yourself height. Now she'll start to build the pace up. Coach is looking for a little more pace as she comes out of turn 1 into turn 2. We'll build the pace up, heading down the little bit of a dipper there. Out of the saddle at the start of the Anna Meares signage. Danica Blinko from Queensland. What has she got here today? Looking good down the back straight. Plenty of cadence in the legs. Out to the sprinter's lane. Winding down. And it's an 11.329 and second fastest time. For Danica Blinko from Queensland, an average speed of 63.55. Emma Stevens now from Queensland out on the track. Emma represented Australia at the Junior Worlds and got herself a medal in the sprint. Now in the elite ranks. Looking for a good time here. Out of the saddle, heading down that back straight to pick that pace up. Back end of the saddle up, the dipper. Out of the saddle at the same place. What can Emma Stevens do here today? Dives down to start the clock and into the back straight. Plenty of encouragement from the Queenslanders. Fourth fastest time at the split. Stops the clock with an 11.513. And third fastest qualifier so far. Heat number 5. Indiana Lysart from Western Australia. So these riders all looking for good seeding into the match sprints. The 200 qualifier gives you your place in the sprint rounds to follow. And that starts off with the first fastest against the slowest, so on and so forth. So what you're after is the best possible seeding by having the fastest time in the sprint qualifiers. Indiana, Lysart out of the saddle. They're almost, these riders almost an identical approach. Heading down the back straight, Indiana, Lysart, fifth fastest split with a 5.887 into the front straight now and stops the clock with an 11.999. And that brings up onto the boards Eliza Bennett from New South Wales. The fastest time so far is an 11.293. Set by Tamanzin Clark from New South Wales. Eliza Bennett just cutting the corner a little bit there, conserving energy, and we'll start to build the pace up now. And we'll stay nice and high now. Coming into this all-important last back straight, where you really want to build up your pace. And use that bank. And out of the saddle, probably a little bit low coming in. Dives a little earlier than the other girls. Other ladies, Eliza Bennett onto the back straight, getting plenty of encouragement from the teammates, looking for that first split. It's 5.61, third fastest split. And Eliza Bennett stops the clock with the third fastest time of 11.361. Sophie Watts from Western Australia now out onto the track. Just cutting the top of that corner. No need to expend energy on the first lap, but has worked her way up to the fence now and using all the height the track has to offer. Sophie Watts starting to build the pace up now. Good pace going into turn 3. Out of the saddle nice and early over the front of the bike, really working that bike, trying to get as much pace as she gets into the saddle, dives down now and starts the clock. Pace looks good, really wrestling with the bike. How's the split? It's a 5.513, fastest split. And stops the clock with an 11.204 and the fastest qualifying time so far. And with 6 riders before her, will give her a good seating. Really wrestled with the bike. Now, next rider up, heat number 8, rider number 58, Jackie Mengler-Moore. Jackie Mengler-Moore's from Queensland. And works very, very hard. And what can she do here today? Out of the saddle, trying to build that pace. Building that big gear up, building that pace down the back straight. Out of the saddle now, lots of encouragement from down in the pit. Coaches down there. Drops down now, starts the clock, into the back straight. What has Jackie Mengler-Moore got from Queensland? She comes into turn 3. Second fastest split, 5.519. Jackie Mengler-Moore stops the clock. Fastest time, 11.123. A very good time from the Queenslander. 7 riders before her, so that won't be a bad seeding, even if the riders ahead are faster, but that remains to be seen. There is 4 riders to come, and the next rider up on the track from New South Wales is Selena Ho. Selena easing into this first lap, but using all the height right up on the boards. Building now out of the saddle, wants as much acceleration from the dip as she can get, and she settles back down into the saddle to go back up the hill. And now out of the saddle and really putting as much energy into this start. Down, sits back down and wrestles the bike out of turn number 2. Down the back straight. What has Selena Ho got here as she comes out of turn 4, third fastest split, and stops the clock. 11.402. Sixth fastest time, 63.15 kilometres per hour, the average for Selena Ho. Also from New South Wales, heat number 10, Kalinda Robinson. Kalinda Robinson, Molly McGill, Alicia McCaig, Brianna Hargraves and Christina Clonan round out this field here today. Winding up the pace, Kalinda Robinson, back down into the saddle. Starts to sprint now, using as much height as she can, dropping at about the start-finish line. The Queenslanders drop a little bit later than that, using the track. It's the fastest split, 5.501. Kalinda Robinson, she stops the clock, 11.208, and third fastest time. Out on the boards now from Queensland, Molly McGill. Crossed over from BMX and is a very fine sprinter. Part of the QAS program. Well, I see that there's a BMX down in the centre. I don't think I've ever seen that before. One of the Western Australians riding around on his BMX. How cool is that? Molly McGill starting to lift her pace now along the back straight. Out of the saddle. What can Molly McGill do here? Drops down now and starts the clock. Looking good down the back straight. What's the split? Fastest split, 5.468. Onto the finishing straight, stops the clock. Second fastest time, 11.157. A great time there from Molly McGill, 11.157. Alicia McCaig now from Victoria, a very accomplished rider. We expect something fancy from her here today. Just completing her first lap. Right up high on the fence. Out of the saddle as she comes down and using the pace of the slope. Got a good pace going there. Out of the saddle now. Winding up, dropping down at the start-finish line, starts the clock into the back straight, looking good, using the track, rides wide out over above the sprinters lane. Fastest split, Alicia McCaig, what she got? Can she finish it off? Yes, she can. 11.015. Fantastic time there from Alicia McCaig. So close to cracking the 11-second barrier. New fastest time, an average of 65.36. Out onto the boards now, Brianna Hargrave from South Australia. Very fast sprinter. Right up on the fence of this first lap. Brianna Hargrave. Alicia McCaig, fastest time, 11.015. Brianna now out of the saddle. Second last qualifier. Drops down at the start-finish line. Out to the sprinters line again, using the track. Cutting across right on that black line. Fastest split, 10.818. Fastest time, first rider to crack 11. Brianna Hargrave, fastest time, 10.818. Only one rider to come. And that rider is Queensland's Christina Clonan. What can Christina Clonan do here today? Was an enduro rider, crossed over to sprint and hasn't looked back. World Cup gold medalist. She's on a home track. And taking heaps of pace into this last lap. Accelerating down now into turn number one. Head down. Really aerodynamic. Look at that cadence, wrestling with the bike. The split's the fastest, 5.333. Can she finish it off? Christina Clonan, 10.794, fastest qualifier. Christina Clonan stamping her place as the best sprinter in Australia, here for the National Championships. And a cracker of a time, 10.794. And what about Brianna Hargrave? 10.818. So that's it for the elite women's sprint qualifying. And we will start to get ready for event number 8, which is the first round of the elite men's sprints. Just a little bit of a break before we head to event number 8, the elite men's sprint round number 1. Following the elite men's sprint round, we'll have the elite women's sprint round, and then the first of our bunch races will be the junior women 19 scratch race final. A total of 14 riders, 30 laps, which is 7.5 kilometres, and it'll be good to have our first scratch races for the competition starting shortly. You see the Brisbane Cycling Festival banners in and around the velodrome. Some fantastic events happening for the festival.
Okay, helps if you actually respond, because we've been calling you for a while. Richo actually rode a championship record on that flying 200.
Are you trying to tell me that you went to all that hullabaloo just to tell me that?
You're gonna take that away from me.
Well, I've just heard from Neil Hamey in the most impolite of ways that Matthew Richardson has just set a new championship record. Richo's time, which I can't read my own writing, which I think was 9.564. So congratulations, Matthew Richardson, on a new championship record at the Australian Track Championships with that time. Very, very quick. And we're going to look forward to seeing Richo in the match sprints, round 1. Coming up very soon. Don't have the list of commissaires up here with me, but a big thank you to all of our officials that are here for the next 5 days and for the festival. And all our event organisers, volunteers, timing people, first aid and media. Commissaires now making their way out onto the track, so we will get to see our new national record holder, Matthew Richardson. And he is riding up against rider number 25. Which is Dylan Stanton from South Australia. So Matthew Richardson in the yellow and Dylan Stanton in the red. Big chance for Dylan Stanton to beat the new Australian record holder as they head out 3 laps. So the way the match sprints works, it's much like the qualifier, 3 laps. It's pretty simple. Whoever finishes first wins. And quite often in a match sprint, there will be some slow riding, sometimes track standing. Typically, what you're seeing out there now is pretty common in a match sprint. Riders jockeying for position. Rider might prefer to be at the back or might prefer to be leading out and trying to catch your opponent unaware. If you consider them to be stronger than you, you might try and put them into the fence, like Dylan Stanton was just doing then, to try and stop them from going. We see Matthew Richardson jockeying a little bit and picking up the pace. And Dylan Stanton doing a good job of holding the front line. Richo going up high now. Dylan going up to try and stop his line. And Richo goes around pretty comfortably, being one of the fastest sprinters in the world. And Matthew Richardson wins that one, but a good little ride there from Dylan Stanton. Well done.
Neil, quick question for you. Just to simplify matters, do you know what the file size, maximum file size is in terms of time on a video recording? I don't, but there's been a full points race on there at one point. Yeah, I guess, thanks. Yeah, just rather than me stopping and starting for every event, I'm just going to run it through the entire men's sprint and then start a new one for the women's sprint and just time code it. Yeah, that would make it a lot easier.
All right, moving now on to heat number 2. And it's Thomas Cornish from New South Wales up against Carlos Carismo from South Australia. Carlos Carismo from South Australia in the red, and he's leading out Thomas Cornish from New South Wales. First day of the championships, and some bulk of our riders yet to hit the boards. Nervous wait. You tend to find once you've had your first race, you can relax a little bit more. Unless, of course, you're up against Tom Cornish. Carlos Carismo just trying to keep Tom from getting to the front. They get the bell. Carismo now speeding down the back straight. Tom Cornish will roll over the top, and perfectly timed there by Tom Cornish, and a good ride from Carlos Carismo from South Australia. The final 200, 10.93. It's an all South Australian event, heat number 3. James Brister from South Australia up against Maxwell Liebenecht, also from South Australia. Max is the short sleeve, and James Brister is wearing the long sleeve skin suit. Very similar setup. Otherwise, Tony Tor making sure everyone's happy, blows the whistle for the start of the heat. Two riders that would be very familiar with one another, teammates. Max Liebenecht leading. Max just picking up the pace as he comes past the start-finish line. Brister now accelerating as they come into turn 4 to get the bell. Liebenecht now into the sprint position as they go down the back straight. Brister with pace to burn. It comes over the top and will take that heat. Good ride there from Maxwell Liebenecht. James Brister will move through. So James Brister from South Australia moving through round number 1. That was 3 verse 14. The final 200 metres was 10.75. Up now, John Travas from New South Wales, and he's up against Byron Davies from Queensland. This is a 4 verse 13. Byron Davies in the maroon and John in the blue, the New South Wales blue. Andrew Travas is down there on the apron taking some photos, and we'll make those available to the riders and spectators when he gets a chance to edit them. But it's great to have John and Andrew up here at the National Championships. Byron leading out, keeping an eye on John. John moving up the track. Byron just keeping John behind. John now moves underneath and goes to the front. Good little move there. The pace is pretty high. They get the bell. Byron Davies now into his work down the back straight. John doing the best he can to hold him off. They come around turn 3 out of turn 4. Byron Davies turns it off. Good ride there from John Travas. And Byron Davies will move through. The final 200 was 10.48. There's a hum out there. It's the gun.
All right.
It's the gun channel. Just turned it off.
Yeah, right.
So if you later tonight you're wondering where that's coming from, it's the gun.
Okay.
So Byron Davies from Queensland moves through round 1. Up next, Ryan Elliott. And Finn Carpenter from Western Australia. Finn in the yellow. Yeah, and Ryan Elliott in the Queensland maroon. And this is 5 verse 12. And the further we get through the qualifiers, the closer the times are, and generally the closer the racing. Ryan Elliott on the front. Finn Carpenter moving up onto the shoulder of Ryan Elliott. Goes high to try and get a bit of pace. Ryan Elliott keeping an eye on him. Finn looking for height. Ducks down now. Ryan accelerating. Ryan goes for height. They get the bell. Ryan accelerating down that back straight. Finn showing plenty of pace. He's not going to have enough, I don't think. But a very good sprint there from Finn Carpenter. He's got some back end speed, but Ryan Elliott too good on this occasion. He'll go through round number 1, and that was one of the faster 200s we've seen so far in the match sprints with a 10.2. Neil Bear here.
Yes, sir.
Is the gun used at all in this event?
Only if he needs to stop something.
Okay, I'll leave it on. It's humming, but I'll leave it on.
Just turn it down a touch. I'm driving that pretty hard.
I hadn't noticed. Thank you. All right, up next, all Victorian.
Number 33 has laser on the back of the helmet.
Sam Gallagher, rider number 33. Rider number 33, Sam Gallagher with the matte helmet with laser on it. Ned Pollard, also from Victoria, distinctive with the gloss helmet. Sam Gallagher on the front, and Ned Pollard just moving up the track a little bit now. A couple of teammates, they'd know each other and they're very well in their relative strengths and weaknesses. They've probably match sprinted against each other in training a fair bit, you would imagine. Sam Gallagher on the back, and he's being held up to the fence by Ned Pollard, who ducks down on turn 2 and then straight back up to hold Sam. Oh, Sam finds an opening, ducks down it, may or may not have been there, goes onto the apron. Sam's on the front, and Pollard's doing a good job of chasing him. But Sam will take the win. Sam Gallagher, right at 33, grabs the win and will go through to round number 1. Not sure. Scoreboard. All right, Lee Hoffman from South Australia leads out in the red. Jade Madden from Victoria. This is 7 verse 10. Lee Hoffman did a 9.912. Jane Madden a 10.099. So we're getting to the rounds where the riders are a lot closer matched. Lee Hoffman keeping a very close eye on Jane Madden, who's high on the track. And goes early, sees he's got a bit of a gap out of the saddle. Lee Hoffman fancies to go long. Jade Madden sits up, can't make up the gap, and so a good little attack there from Lee Hoffman. He had enough of a gap and decided to go early, and it was too much for Lee Hoffman from Victoria to make up. 10.21, the final 200. And Lee Hoffman from South Australia will go through to round 2. Nathan Hart and Daniel Barber, two riders that times are very close. It's 8 versus 9. This is the two qualifiers that qualified closest times. Nathan Hart, rider number 1 in the yellow of the ACT. Daniel Barber from New South Wales in the blue. Might seem a little annoying that I keep pointing out the colours, but it's more for the live stream where it's a little harder to make out who's who. Nathan Hart from the ACT leads out. This is the last heat in the men's elite men's sprint round 1. Last of the match sprints. And then we'll move straight into event number 9, which is the elite women's sprint round number 1. Following that, we'll go into the first of our bunch races with the junior women 19 scratch race final. 14 riders competing there. Nathan Hart still on the front, and Daniel Barber keeping a very close eye. The pace is still quite pedestrian. It'll start to pick up. Barber now picking up the pace, going high. Barber really picking up the pace now, gets out of the saddle. He's staying up high. Hart trying to keep him up high. They get the bell. Now it's a drag race down the back straight. Barber had the ascendancy, but can Hart hold on? Hart has enough. Barber turns it off. And Nathan Hart from the ACT wins the final match sprint and goes through to round 2. Well, that concludes event number 8, the elite men's sprint round. Congratulations again to Matthew Richardson with setting a new national record in the sprint qualifier, the 9.5 earlier today. And now the ladies get ready in the marshalling area for event number 9, the elite women's sprint round 1. All right, the first of our ladies getting ready. Finn Carpenter down there on his BMX. I think that's fantastic to have a BMX bike down here. And we've got quite a few riders that have crossed over from BMX to track. Wonderful to see in the AusCycling. We're all under the one banner to see BMX riders riding here at the track. Alicia McCraig and Indiana Lysart. This is 3rd verse 14. And it's Indiana Lysart in the Western Australian yellow leading out. Indiana Lysart still holding first position, leading out Alicia McCaig. Alicia qualifying third fastest. Indiana Lysart really picking up the pace and has a lead of about 3 or 4 bike lengths. But Alicia has that covered as she heads down the back straight. Indiana wins turn number 3, but Alicia is going to win round number 1. Good racing there from Lysart, but McCaig too strong. McCaig will move through to round number 2. All right, next round in the match sprints is 4 versus 13. Jackie Menglemore against Jacqueline Knock. Jacqueline Knock from Western Australia. Jackie Menglemore from Queensland will lead out. Menglemore leading out. Head over the shoulder, keeping an eye on Knock. Menglemore keeping the pace steady. Up to the blue line, back down onto the black. Getting a little bit of height there. Menglemore gets the bell, leads from the front. Jacqueline Knock doing her best down the back straight to try and bridge this gap. It looks like Jackie Menglemore has done enough and she will move through to round 2. Next round is a all Queensland. We have Emma Stevens up against Molly McGill, I think. Emma Stevens, rider number 1, will lead out. Emma Stevens from Queensland leading out. The two teammates who had ride against each other several times a week. They know each other very well. Sun's come back out again here at Chandler in Brisbane, and the humidity starting to rise again. Some fast times earlier today in the team sprints, with Matthew Richardson breaking a national record. Hardly surprising, he's in such fantastic form. The two riders are in good form at the moment. Two Queenslanders out on the track, Emma Stevens and Molly McGill. Emma Stevens leading out with the white helmet, and Molly McGill on her shoulder. They'll come around turn 4 and they'll get the bell. Emma Stevens holding on to position number 1. Molly McGill now trying to get around the outside, and she does. Emma Stevens putting everything into it, but Molly McGill too strong, and she will go through to round number 2. So that was 5 versus 12. We have 3 more match sprints to come in the women's sprint rounds. Up next is 6 versus 11. Six and 11 now onto the start line. Getting the all clear from Tony Tor. Selena Ho from New South Wales leads out Sophie Watts from Western Australia. Very, very slow start to the 6v11. Is there anyone on the door with a radio? Yeah. All right, pace picking up here in this heat. Selena Ho on the front, trying to hold off Sophie Watts, who's come over the top. Sophie Watts has burst over the top, over the shoulder of Selena Ho. Selena Ho was doing a good job of holding her off, but now Selena Ho is putting up a fight. She's got the ascendancy as they come, and she's going to take it out. Well, Sophie Watts looks like she had that one, but Selena Ho just found another gear and somehow held on. It's a steep track, this one. You really need to try and win turn 3. It's very hard to come over the top, particularly if you're pretty evenly matched there, but Sophie Watts came with plenty of power, but Selena Ho just lifted. So Selena Ho from New South Wales moves through to the next round. That was 6 versus 11, now 7 versus 10. So Selena Ho from New South Wales joins the list of ladies through to round number 2. And following up now, another 2 New South Wales riders in the 7 versus 10 match sprint in this event number 9, the Elite Women's Sprint Round 1.
Scoreboard.
Kalinda Robinson from New South Wales and Eliza Bennett. And Kalinda Robinson accelerates around over the top of Eliza Bennett. Eliza now going for height. Ducks down. Oh, there's a shoulder to shoulder as they come out of turn 4, but it's Eliza Bennett with the ascendancy as they head down the back straight. But Kalinda Robinson is coming with pace, the 2 teammates. Can she hold on, coming around over the top, but it's going to be Eliza Bennett who took that one out. And they came together on turn 4, but no big deal. 2 experienced riders, very strong. And Eliza Bennett takes that one with a 12.02 over Kalinda Robinson from New South Wales. And we have one more round of match sprints, elite women match sprints, before we have the first of our bunch races, which we're all looking forward to, the Junior Women 19 scratch race final. Danica Blinko on the fence. Demans and Clark leading out from New South Wales. 2 riders at 8 versus 9, the closest match sprint typically, and 2 riders whose times are very, very close together. The tactics plays a huge part in the match sprint. Your total speed doesn't always guarantee you the win. In fact, rarely it does it. It's a very tactical and technical part of the sport, this match sprints. Demans and Clark holds onto the lead position. Danica Blinko happy just to circulate round off her wheel. Takes a little bit of height now. Demans just moving up. And she goes coming out of turn number 4. And a bit of a rattle there on the wheel as she came past the start-finish line. Out of the saddle, Danica Blinko coming with pace into turn 3. She's got a lot of work to do. Can she get over the top? Temanzin's trying to hold on. Danica Blinko comes around the outside and takes it. A very well-timed race there. Danica Blinko moves through to round 2. 11.83 the final 200. One of the fastest final 200s we've had in round number 1. Congratulations, Danica Blinko, going through to round number 2. That is the end of the qualifiers. And now we move on to event number 10. right, so our junior women under 19s are all over at marshalling, waiting to head up onto the track. Our two sprinters, Demanson and Danica, just coming out down off the track, and we'll be able to get underway. So 14 riders on the fence: Belinda Bailey, Kira Will, Nicole Duncan, Eliza Carnes, Ava Wilson, Lucy Hall and Avi Masters. On the sprinters lane, Morella Willis-Hell, Sally Carter, Isabel Russell, Georgia Wilson, Felicity Wilson, Haffenden, Lilith Jones and Eva Sislowski. Eva Sislowski. Here I was thinking I was going to get the surname wrong. Very exciting, the start of our bunch races, and a field packed with junior talent. You've seen all of these young ladies come through, under 17s and under 15s. Very exciting to see them here at the Nationals. .30 laps on the lap board. Tony Tor gives the whistle, and the start of the scratch race. This is a final. No heat here, so this is for the medals. The gun blows for the start of the race. That's Neil Hamey's new toy. The first lap was for fun, and now we're into the race. 30 laps, the scratch race. Very simple, traditional type of race where the person who crosses the finish line first wins. Eliza Carnes from Queensland on the front. She rolls up. Ava Wilson rolls up. Very short turns on the front here, so the girls get settled in. Some of these ladies, the first time they've ridden in the championships, and they'll be full of nerves and just enjoying being out on the boards. A beautiful day here in Brisbane. It's hot and clammy and fast down on the track. It's nice and air conditioned up where we are, but very warm. So we've seen some fast times in the sprints. Nicole Duncan rolls off the front. Short turns. Lilith Jones from Victoria, and she has her Victorian riders all together with her. Victoria well represented in this race. The one Tassie rider rolls off the front. That's Felicity Wilson Haffenden. Georgia Wilson from Queensland now takes up honours on the front. The girls circulating around at a steady pace. Short turns. Eva Sislowski now from Western Australia takes up on the front, rolls straight off. .23 laps on the lap board. And so far, everyone just content to swap turns. Sally Carter very briefly on the front, rider from Western Australia. Back to Eliza Carnes, Isabel Russell, Eva. Pace may have picked up just a little bit. Still just happy to roll turns. That was Belinda Bailey was on the front as they come past the start-finish line. She rolled off straight away. So we're waiting to see in this scratch race if there will be a move made, a break, attempted a break, whether it'll come down to just sprint finish at the end. Lilith Jones there, briefly on the front, rolls off. And we're now down to 19 laps to go. Felicity Wilson Haffenden, the only Tassie rider there, just rolls off. New South Wales have 3 riders, Queensland 2, South Australia 2, Western Australia 2. It's a good representation from the states out there. The pace still steady, 18 laps on the lap board. You haven't seen any attacks yet, but there'll be some ladies out there with an idea of how to approach this race. Eva rolls straight off. Felicity Wilson Haffenden now. Sally Carter as they come round with 16 laps to go. Eliza Carnes, Georgia Wilson, Nicole Duncan. Very good rider, Nicole Duncan. You expect to see her right up the front at the pointy end of this race. Morella Willis-Hell from South Australia. And short jaunt on the front there, and she rolls off. So still short turns. We've crossed the halfway mark. Who is going to open up this race? Or are we going to roll through all the way through to the finish? You would imagine with some very strong sprinters out there, you would expect that some of the more enduro riders might try and make a break at some stage. 13 laps on the lap board, perhaps with 10 laps to go, we might see something happen. Sally Carter rolls off the front. Eva now from Western Australia. Nicole Duncan. Felicity. All right, Sally Carter on the front. She rolls off and Kira Wheel takes up the front. We're getting close to 10 laps, you'd expect. Getting closer to 10 laps in a 30-lap race, we might see an attack from some of the riders more comfortable with a longer break. Georgia Wilson moving up from the outside, anticipating something is going to happen, or possibly initiating something, but happy to settle down mid-bunch. Down into 9 laps to go. Are we going to roll all the way through to the sprint? Sally Carter off the front. Georgia Wilson, Nicole Duncan. The New South Wales riders all together there on the front. Georgia Wilson moving up towards the front again now. Georgia Wilson is the one to make the move. She doesn't want to sprint against the likes of Nicole Duncan. She goes with 7 laps to go. She's out to an early lead. Kozlowski is doing the chasing. Eliza Carnes rolls off. Sally Carter rolls off. Georgia Wilson, who was just a teaser, she rolls up. She rolls back down onto the black line again. She's trying to break the bunch. She's trying to find a couple of riders that'll go with her. She can't do it alone. 7 laps against this bunch. She's looking for someone to come with her. Nobody came. So now we're back. Nicole Duncan on the front. Might be Isabel Russell, actually. Eliza Carnes. It's almost too late. Might come down to a bunch sprint. Kozlowski's on the front. Four laps on the lap board. Georgia Wilson on the front again. Nicole Duncan happy to go back. The 3 Victorians out the front, but they roll up. Eliza Carnes doesn't want to go to the front. So it's all slowed. It's playing into the hands of the sprinters. There's only 3 laps to go. And it's almost a coffee ride out there. Kira Wheel on the front. She's got a teammate. She's got 2 teammates on a wheel. So New South Wales are setting themselves up very well. Victoria together, but they're further back in the bunch. New South Wales, you would say, controlling this race at the moment with 3 riders, 1, 2 and 3. Sally Carter now coming up from the outside. She can see what's happening on the front. She wants to break it up. Out of the saddle, Sally Carter. She goes. New South Wales are going to go with her. There's 2 laps on the lap board. They come round turn number 4. They're going to get the bell. Sally Carter's on the front. Over the top comes Nicole Duncan. Nicole Duncan goes to the front. New South Wales are 1, 2, 3. Nicole Duncan, what did I tell you? She's on the front. National champion, New South Wales, 1, 2, 3. Nicole Duncan first. Kira Wheel second. Pretty sure it was Isabel Russell who got through for third. We'll wait for Neil Hamey and his results from the judges. But Nicole Duncan, and the move came from Sally Carter, and it was a good move. Sally Carter could see what was happening with New South Wales 1, 2, 3 on the front. She tried to break it up, did a great job all on her own. But New South Wales came round the outside. Well, that was a New South Wales masterclass. Congratulations, Nicole Duncan, champion, under-19 champion. She was the one to beat. The New South Wales team did very, very well there. I was very happy when that group of girls moved up from my daughter's age bracket. They're very, very strong, and it's great to see that they've continued that strength into under-19s. So we wait for the official results. It looked to the naked eye to be New South Wales 1, 2, 3. And it is. Nicole Duncan, national champion of the Junior Women 19 scratch race. Kira Wheel second. Isabel Russell will take third place. Well, it ended up being quite an exciting race there. It came down to the last lap. Western Australia tried to spoil the party. There's a really aggressive move there from Sally Carter, but the 3 New South Wales riders were too strong in the end. So a very good opening to the bunch races for New South Wales. We move now to the junior men 19 scratch race. On the fence, Noah Bladden, Hayden Vanderploeg, Caden Lovett, Luke Rickard, Jack Clark, William Mathewin, Alex Eves, Lachlan Oliver, Lawson Fransman, Xavier Siriani, Cohen Harper and Edward Marks. On the sprinters lane, Ben Anderson, Kai Goltman, Sebastian Collins, Charlie Abel, Connor Doyle, Callan Tucker, Samuel McKee, Hamish Clarkson, Oscar Gallagher, Jack Dowler and Chris Wright. Tony Tor working his way through the starting riders. Tony gives the whistle to start the race, and we'll have this will be a neutral lap. As neutral as junior under 19 men get. When the commissaire is happy that they're all bunched up together, he'll blow the whistle for the start of the race. 40 laps on the lap board. Kai Goltman rolls off the front. Well, you would expect this will be very quick. Cadell Lovett there from New South Wales. A brief stint. You'll see here for at least the first 10 laps, they'll just be sharp, short turns. Hamish Clarkson from Victoria rolling off the front. 3 Western Australians all together, 1, 2, 3. And the South Australians all lined up together as well at the back of the race. Almost sounded like there was a mechanical out there, a bit of a flapping noise from one of the wheels, but everybody's still staying there in the race by the look. So 23 riders in this race. And it's Seb Collins rolls off the front. Luke Rickard. That looks like Alex Eves. Charlie Abel, that was. So 4 riders from South Australia up the front, 5 riders in the race, and some very strong riders in that South Australian representation out there. So we'll see how this all pans out. The pace is pretty quick. Edward Marks from the ACT, he's doing a bit of a longer stint on the front. The only ACT rider out there. That's Noah Blannon on the front. Noah Blannon picked up the pace. He's got Seb Collins on the front there with him. But Luke Rickard, and he's got a rider in front of him there from Victoria. They want to shut this down. But Noah Blannon opened that up very, very easily. That's Oscar Gallagher that's on the front and doing the work to bring them all back. But Noah Blannon just put the pedal down there for a second and created a four-man breakaway. But Gallagher closed that down very, very quickly. A sign of things to come by the look. South Australia still riding together. 3 Victorian riders now on the front. Xavier Siriani rolls off. and then 3 Western Australians together as well. 28 laps on the lap board. We're down 12 already, and it's a good pace. Noah Blannon on the front again. The Tassie rider of Hayden van der Ploeg out there. Couple of Tasmanians out there. Your teammate Lachlan Oliver is out there as well. Luke Rickard rolls off the front, and Connor Doyle takes up. A good pace. We saw a very quick breakaway form, and now there's a move. Jack Clark, it seems to be, that's driving up the pace. It is. Western Australia are in numbers, but they don't seem too interested at the moment. The South Australian sitting on the front at the moment. He's not going to chase, and he does a good job. So Jack Clark, he's off. Noah Blannon, Van der Ploeg doing the chasing. Doesn't seem to be too much concern in the bunch. 23 laps to go. But Clark is out to a quarter of a lap. So Clark extending his lead. Noah Blannon on the front again, doing a bit of a longer turn, looking to pick the pace up. Hayden's with him. He rolls up. Hayden rolls up straight away. They're not in the same straight anymore. Clark still looking strong. Might have eased up just a little. Now it's Luke Rickard from Queensland who's doing the chasing. He rolls up. Hayden, the Tasmanian, doing plenty of work out there. Oscar Galla from Victoria, he rolls off. Now we're back to Edward Marks from the ACT. Kai Galtman, he's had enough. He's sat up. Caden Lovett from New South Wales chasing, but he rolls up. Clark still looking strong. He has eased. But he's still got more than quarter of a lap on the field. There's 18 laps on the lap board. Hayden van der Ploeg, he's still on the front. He's done a ton of work. Luke Rickard, Noah Blannon. Adam Clark still off the front. I'd say he's maintaining his lead. He's pretty much in turn 1 when the bunch is in turn 4. So there's about a full straight between them. Seb Collins is off the back. So Kai Galtman and Seb Collins both Seb Collins still circulating though, and Jack Clark from South Australia. He's been out the front now for 7 or 8 laps, and he's still looking pretty comfortable. Luke Rickard, Hayden van der Ploeg rolls off the front. So the lead's starting to come down a bit now. Edward Marks doing the chasing, and Clark is starting to expire. It's been a good hit out. Collins has called it a day. Cohen Harper from Western Australia doing the chasing. Hayden from Tassie, he's been in everything. Hayden and Lachlan Oliver, the two Tasmanians, have been doing a ton of work. Jack Clark, sorry, he rolls up. His job is done. Hopefully he can get back onto the back of the pack and stay with the group. So all back together again. Two riders we've lost. Jack Clark missed the back of the bunch, but hopefully he can get back on. Lachlan Oliver on the front. He rolls off for Jack Dola from Western Australia. Jack just struggling to hold on to the back, but hopefully he can. There's 9 laps on the lap board. Xavier Siriani up the front. And now we have a move. I think that's Noah Blannon. It is Noah Blannon. 8 laps to go. Looks over his shoulder. Who's coming with me? Noah Blannon, he's off. William Mathwin, he rolls off as well. Now we have one of the Western Australians who's coming at pace. Noah Blannon, he's looking for a partner. Cohen Harper shuts that down, and they're all back together again. Cohen goes all the way to the back, but Noah Blannon, he's almost back at the front again. Blannon goes again, back into the mid-pack. He's looking for someone to go with him. There's 6 laps on the lap board. He sits up again. He's playing with them at the moment. Noah Blannon sits up again. Testing the waters. Xavier Siriani finds himself on the front again. He goes. Lachlan Oliver from Tasmania. Hayden van der Plague is there as well. Have they got themselves out to a 3-man break? They're just off the front. Who from the pack? Are they going to go? Can they get organised? Do they want to go now? There's 4 laps on the lap board. The bunch is back together again. The 2 Tasmanians, they look settled at the front there. Connor Doyle from South Australia is there with them. Coming around the outside is Lachlan Oliver. He wants to get back to the front again. 2 laps on the lap board. It's all to play for. Coming up from round the outside is Callan Tucker from South Australia. Noah Blannon is well positioned. They're going to come round for the bell. On the front, it's Hayden van der Plague from Tasmania. Noah Blannon goes. Can he hold off? Going right with him is rider number 105, Callan Tucker. Lachlan Oliver's coming in from round the outside. Noah Blannon, can he get there? Noah Blannon's on the front. Second wheel's coming. Noah Blannon, no. Rider 108. Samuel McKee from Tasmania takes the win. Looked like Noah Blannon second. Was it Samuel McKee? Certainly looks like it from the, if the crowd has anything to go by, we wait for the official results. Well, they all came back together. Noah Blannon was perfectly placed. And the win goes to Samuel McKee from Tasmania. National Scratch Champion for under-19s for 23. Fantastic racing from Noah Blannon from Queensland, who gets the silver, and Oscar Gallagher from Victoria rounds out the podium. Well, that was exciting, an exciting finish. Looked like Noah Blannon had enough. But Samuel McKee from Tassie came round the outside, and not easy to come round the outside on this track. It's very steep. So a round of applause for our national champion, Samuel McKee, Noah Blannon second, and Oscar Gallagher the bronze. right, well, we have presentations coming up shortly. Presentations coming out shortly. Don't often get told to turn the volume up. All right, we'll get into radio mic's dead. presentations for. Did I mention I hate this thing? We'll have the presentations for junior women's under 19 scratch race and the junior men 19 scratch race shortly. What's that? This is the radio mic.
Yep.
Can you just adjust it?
Stop feedback, yeah.
Can I just stay on one?
Yep.
Audio.
I don't know why they'd give me such a crucial number.
Oh, I'm from Western Australia. So, yeah.
That concludes the live stream for the morning session. The afternoon session is hosted by SBS, so that'll start at 6 o'clock. So head over there, and thanks for tuning in.